We bring you the latest updates from the Pna Newsroom. The Sugar Regulatory Administration is proposing to sell the smuggled white sugar at the Kadiwa outlets. This following the confiscation of about 261 million pesos worth of refined white sugar from Thailand. The Bureau of Customs intercepted the vessel carrying the shipment of about 80,000 bags of sugar on Saturday, following reports that it has no notice of arrival and other necessary legal documents. The vessel, named MV Sunward, was docked at the Batangas port during the apprehension. SRA Administrator David Alba said he will make a recommendation to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to sell the sugar through Kadiwa outlets at a lower cost to benefit more consumers. Various agricultural stakeholders have offered their help in the government's fight against smuggling in the country. In a statement, the Association of Fresh Fish Traders of the Philippines, Agriculture Advocacy Group Tugon Kabuhayan, United Broiler Raisers Association, and the former Agriculture Secretary Leonardo Montemayor cited the immediate need to enforce measures against smuggling, as the illegal practice has depressed the country's local production and kept food prices high. The groups urged the private sector to step up and get involved in the enforcement of anti-smuggling laws. They also want the government to institutionalize the DA's inspectorate and enforcement arm, as this group who goes after smugglers are only ad hoc or temporary, and to strengthen its implementation of the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997. Aside from losses and rising inflation, these stakeholders said smuggling also allows the entry of animal and plant diseases such as African swine fever and cocolisap due to the unregulated importation. The Department of Migrant Workers is working with authorities to reduce the number of welfare cases and bring home distressed overseas Filipino workers in Kuwait. DMW officials led by Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak and Arnel Ignacio of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, held several meetings with their Kuwaiti counterparts. They discussed ways to address the concerns of distressed OFWs, particularly runaway workers. Kakdak earlier announced that the DMW plans to bring home at least 310 distressed OFWs from Kuwait this month. Migrant Workers Secretary Susan Ople also said the DMW is working to upgrade the facilities at government-run shelters in Kuwait and in other countries. The special DMW mission looked at alternative buildings that can serve as temporary shelters for distressed OFWs. Meanwhile, Social Welfare Attaché Bernard Bonina is set to go to Kuwait to make sure that distressed OFWs are placed in a more dignified, comfortable, and safe environment. In other news, the Justice Department has recommended more than 1,000 names of persons deprived of liberty, or PDLs, to the Office of the Executive Secretary for Executive Clemency. Justice spokesperson Miko Clavano said they are waiting for word from Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin on when the executive clemency will be granted. The list includes a number of prisoners recommended for release in September 2022. Clavano also said that 500 PDLs are set to be released on January 23 at the New Bilibid prison. The spokesperson said that almost 4,000 PDLs have been released so far. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. had previously directed the DOJ to release PDLs who are qualified for parole to decongest the country's correctional facilities. And that is the latest and the biggest stories from the Pna Newsroom. For more news content, visit our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We are also shown on the social media pages of the Presidential Communications Office and on Radio Pilipinas RP1. Stay tuned for more news updates. I am William Theo. We tell stories that inspire change.